Thanks to Cineworld's Secret Screening tonight, I got to check out Scrapper, which actually doesn't release until August 25th. However, what did I think of this movie? Well, I'm just going to be honest, this is going to be a movie that's going to divide a lot of people. Hello everyone, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. Whether you're new or returning, really appreciate you taking your own time out to check out my spoiler-free review of Scrapper, directed by Charlotte Regan and starring Harris Dickinson, Lola Campbell and Alin Uzun. Scrapper tells the story of 12-year-old Georgie, who has to confront reality when her estranged father Jason shows up from out of nowhere. But I have seen a trailer for Scrapper before. I've seen it once. I was kind of like on the fence with the movie, and after coming out of the movie I still feel that exact way, but this is going to be torn. This isn't kind of for a general moviegoer. I would say this movie is definitely more for kind of people who love indie and kind of like art house based movies, but we're going to get into that. But just before we do, just a quick word from my Patreon. I would like to say a huge thank you to all my awesome Patreons who help to really support the channel. If you're interested in joining Patreon, and if you're interested in buying some merch or checking out my debut book, there is a link down below in the description box you can click where you can find all that good stuff. Thanks for listening, really appreciate it. Now let's get on to the review. So after walking out of this movie, so the great thing is this was actually my birthday. I got to check out this movie. I actually got to see this with the whole family as a secret screening for the first time, and I can't even tell you how long it's been since everyone in my family pretty much showed up to the cinema. So this was a really cool experience. But coming out of the movie, I think I definitely enjoyed it for a lot more than my family did. As I mentioned, this is definitely not really a movie for an average cinema goer, because for example, the best kind of example I can give you guys is if you've seen movies like say After Sun, shout out to Josh for Through the Lens by the way, this movie is probably going to be more for you because this is a very slow paced movie. This is a one that takes its time in terms of like a character study, but also not a lot happens. And sometimes it does happen at the same time, where this is all around Georgie and Jason. Of course, Jason playing the father, who is Harris Dickinson, who wants to really get to know his daughter, and he hasn't been around for her life. And that's basically the premise of this movie. So if that sounds interesting to you and you like that kind of slower build character studies, then maybe this one will be for you. A lot of people actually walked out saying, yeah, I didn't mind that movie. Some people thought, no, didn't like it. Some people even walked out of the screening. So that kind of just gives you kind of a critical response of what people are maybe going to think on this one. Now, Charlotte Regan is the director here. I've never seen any of her previous works, so I can't comment if they're any good or whether they're not. But this definitely had an indie feel to it. It definitely felt as if there wasn't much budget behind Scrapper. And I think the director probably did the best of what she could do with the materials and the funding that she was given, because even my brother, who doesn't watch a lot of movies, when he walked out of this one, it's like, this felt like a movie that was made on hardly no budget whatsoever, and I can definitely agree with that sentiment. I will say in terms of the casting, Harris Dickinson as Jason, also Lola Campbell as Georgie, and Alin Uzun as Ali, I think all of them do a good job. They were all good characters. They all had different personalities. They brought something different to the table. I would definitely say that Lola Campbell for me was impressive. I think she did a good job for what she is given, especially as a child actress. I think Harris Dickinson, as a couple of people mentioned, especially in my family, said as soon as he kind of came on screen, the movie got better, and I definitely agree with that sentiment. It felt as if the movie had more purpose, because up until that kind of that point where it's about 15-20 minutes in, the movie kind of felt like what the heck is kind of going on? Especially if you haven't seen the trailer, you might be a bit like, where's this movie kind of going? Like, which direction is this going to take? And I will say that throughout, besides the performances being good, there is some nice cinematography. There's some nice shots of this kind of local area, and it gives you kind of this feeling of the isolation, and also feelings of this 5 stages of grief that Georgie is going through. And you can definitely feel for the character. I did throughout this entire runtime. You can just kind of see and feel the struggles that this character was going through on a day-to-day basis. And those elements I actually really liked about the movie. I will say, however, with the cinematography that I did praise there just a little bit, there is some elements where there isn't great cinematography. So for example, when a character's running, instead of kind of like having a tracking shot of that character running, it almost as if it's like someone's got the camera, they're running after the actor or actress who's running, and like it's just like shaky cam. Like for example, like this is the camera, instead of holding still, it's kind of like that. That's probably the best kind of example I can give, and there's quite a few of those shots where it's kind of like just, it's not steady at all, it's dizzy, there's a little bit too much of that going on. And again, I appreciate it could be like kind of budget constraints, but it was bad. That's all I will say. There was elements where it was bad. So ultimately, wrapping up Scrapper, there's elements where this movie can be emotional. There's definitely an underlying story here about, you know, not having a parent or parents and dealing with that fallout and dealing with the emotional weight that leaves on you, especially as Georgie is only 12 years old and has to do everything for herself. So there's definitely that side of it. So if you can relate with that, maybe you will find a love for this movie. In terms of an average moviegoer, I will be honest, and I think this is probably not going to be for you. Not to say not to support this movie, but I don't think that a lot of people, you know, to just say, for example, take a chance on this, and maybe this isn't their kind of normal movie. I don't think this is going to sell them on this genre. I don't think this is going to really blow you out the water or be like, wow, you know, I need to go see that another 10 more times. I don't think you'll get that, but I think people who really appreciate like the Indian art house kind of cinema, I think this is definitely one for you, and I think that you will probably find this movie more beneficial than say myself, for example. But have you seen Scrapper? Are you going to check it out? Leave any and all comments down below so we can continue the discussion down there. As for my score for the movie, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5 stars. Thank you so much for watching this review. Really appreciate it. If you haven't already, go hit that red subscribe button down below so I can see you again on a future video. But until the next time that I see you, I'll be seeing you later.